Evening. It's a week 8 of the last week of this current block, I
I
believe.
know. Where has that gone?
I can't believe it's like the middle of January already.
I know. Absolutely crazy.
January's normally like 72 weeks long, and we're halfway through it already.
I know. That's it. First month of 2026 is nearly done.
I'm on my non-alcoholic red wine.
Oh, lovely.
It's actually not that bad. Normally it's disgusting, but it's not too bad, this one. Yes, I have been roped into a 12-week. I think I told you on Tuesday, didn't I?
Remind me.
I've been roped into a 12-week challenge by one of my
Oh,
male
yeah.
clients. So I'm currently in a fat loss phase, but it is going well. Tracking everything, doing everything that we discuss, getting my steps in. That's the point. How many have I done today? Oh, I've hit my 7,000 target,
There you go. I can't. Mine's decided to update, so I can't look right now.
which isn't too bad because I've had a rest day today.
That is good for a rest day. It's even harder.
Yeah. Well, I did,
Just
and
not as active.
this is one of the things that I sort of discussed with in-person clients. So I had a session this morning in the gym up in Stoke, and I knew that I wouldn't be getting loads of steps in, so I actually went up 30, 40 minutes early, went on the treadmill for sort of 25, 30 minutes,
Yeah.
just so that I knew that I'd done a big chunk. So in 30 minutes, I can probably bang out about 4,000 steps.
Yeah.
Because otherwise today I would have done about 3,000 by now. So cool. All right, we'll go in. So we'll go straight in with a question.
Yeah.
Because actually it feeds into the other stuff that I wanted to talk about. So
Yeah, absolutely.
question is, I really struggle with tiredness, feeling drained during the week when I get in from work, and it gets worse towards the end of the week. I'm up at 5 a.m. each day and I don't get in until about 4:30. Is this normal? And do you have any tips so I feel like I have the energy to go to the gym or exercise after work? Um, is it normal? Yes. I know because I get up at 5 o'clock myself as well.
So yeah,
And
you do the long days as well.
yeah, so I mean, it wasn't too bad this morning. I was up at 6:30, so that's a bit of a lie-in, but it's 20 past 8. I finished coaching tonight at 7, and I've just had my tea. And I'm at the end of this call, I'm ready to kind of veg out for an hour. So yeah, it is perfectly normal. But that doesn't necessarily mean there aren't things that you can do. Um, I mean, you've got to kind of put it into context. You've got to understand that getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, um, if you are going to hit your 7 hours of sleep, that means that you've got to be asleep by 10 o'clock.
Yeah. So
And
winding down.
yeah, so you'd be winding down at 9 o'clock onwards. Um, so after this call, and once I've uploaded it, we'll be winding down for an hour. I'll be in bed for just before 10 and trying to go to sleep. I probably won't get to sleep till about 10:30, so I only get 6.5 hours sleep. Um, which means by the end of the week, and I get that, I'm getting shattered as well. So that's normal, absolutely normal. You've got work stress, decision fatigue. If you're getting in and you've got to do all your stuff before you go to bed, it absolutely very normal to feel really kind of getting tired towards the end of the week. And it's let me just turn that off, otherwise I'll get interrupted again. Um, it's kind of something that I'm not saying you have to accept it, but you have to work with it. And it's the same as like people with shift work. I've worked with clients who are on shift work, and they're doing night shifts, so they do mornings, they'll do noons, and then they'll do nights, and it's hard work. So you have to work with it, I guess. And I think there's a couple of things you can do. One is look at where you've got your workouts. If you know you're going to be tired at the end of the week, then scheduling a workout for Friday evening, especially if you're doing the workouts on your own, is not a good idea.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, I've actually scheduled a workout for tomorrow, but I am doing it in the morning. I've actually blocked out some time So mid-morning, I've got 2 hours where I can get the session done. I've also scheduled it to be a fairly light session. So my program at the moment, because I'm on in a deficit, I'm on low calories. I know that my energy is going to be low towards the end of the week. So I've scheduled a lighter workout, and I've looked at that. Oh, that was a message from Gina. um, she's just got in from work. Yeah, so I've scheduled a light workout in the morning, and then I always do a workout at the weekend on a Sunday morning because I've got a bit more energy. I've had a chance to recover. I can stay in bed a little bit longer, and then I tend to front load. So at the moment, I'm doing Mondays, Tuesdays, cardio on Wednesdays, Thursday is a rest day, Friday is a light upper body day, and then I do a lower body on a Sunday. So I've worked it around. So that's the first thing I would say is kind of look at where you're going to have most energy. If it's earlier on in the week, front load your workouts and do them earlier on in the week. And the way that they're written, you could do 3 workouts, 3 days on the trot if you wanted to. You do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Is it ideal? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, we're not training, we're not coaching bodybuilders, right? Bodybuilders would be right with workout and rest days planned for optimization. For the general population, if you're doing a workout, say Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday, that's absolutely fine, you
Yeah.
know, and then the rest of the time be active, walk and things like that. So I think that's the first thing is kind of work around where your workouts are, plan your week out like that. The next thing is obviously if evening workouts you're absolutely tired, look at morning workouts. I know if you're getting up at 5 a.m. to get ready for work,
Yeah.
that's probably not a great idea. And I can absolutely understand that. But for a lot of people, if they're working a normal job and they're getting up at say 6 or well, getting up at say 7 o'clock to get to work for 9, get up at 6, do a workout.
Yeah.
Right. But I think if you're getting up at 5 to go to work anyway, I'm not, yeah. So I would say front load your workouts at the start of the week. The other thing is as well is that don't necessarily set yourself to go and do an hour and really push yourself. Just say, right, I'm going to do 20 minutes because 20 minutes is better than nothing.
Yeah.
And then once you're there, if you do more, great. If you just do the 20 minutes, you've done something. Okay. And that's the main thing. And you can make those 20 minutes count. You know, you could do fewer sets and push the weight up so that you're still getting that stimulation from your muscles to grow. I'm again, because I've got low calories, I have not got the energy to do 4 sets of like 10, 12 reps. I'm doing 2 working sets of each exercise. So I'm doing a warm-up set and then 2 working sets where I'm really pushing myself, heavy weights, low reps. And that works. It works. I know because I've been doing it for 10 years and I've got results. In terms of food, there are things you can do around this with your food as well. Look at your breakfasts. I mean, what's the old phrase? Breakfast like a king, lunch like a lord, supper like a pauper. And it
I've not heard that before.
see, you're young.
I mean,
Um,
you,
but the premise is it's fairly sound. It's like,
yeah,
eat a good breakfast.
set yourself up right.
Yeah, and the mistake a lot of people make is that, and I think we've not said it for a long time, but we've said it before. The mistake a lot of people make is that they'll have like the small breakfast or a protein bar and a coffee or a piece of toast and a coffee, and then lunch will be like this tiny little salad, and they've had about 500 calories by the time they get home. They're ravenous and they're low on energy.
Yeah,
So eat more earlier in the day. And I'm
yeah,
not saying like go straight into having like a 500-calorie breakfast. If all you're used to eating is a piece of toast and coffee, then
yeah,
maybe add a yogurt to it. Go and get yourself one of those flavored Greek yogurts and add a yogurt to the toast, or 2 or 3 eggs with it. That is going to get the protein in and it's going to increase the calories, so you got a bit more energy. Lunch, salads, or a sandwich and a packet of crisps is not going to cut it. You need something a bit more substantial. whether that's something that you prep the night before and have a meal, or whether you go and get sort of a pre-prepared meal, but it needs to be a substantial meal. You need to be having, if your calorie goal is 1,700 calories a day, then you need to be having about two-thirds of them, so around 1,000 calories by the time you get to your evening meal.
Yeah.
Spread those calories out, spread the protein out as well, because a lot of people kind of pack the protein into the last meal of the day and they've not had enough. Protein helps with so many things. It helps with satiety, but it also helps you to manage and control blood sugar levels. Now, they're not massively important, but if your blood sugar's constantly going up and down, you're going to suffer with energy dips.
Yeah.
Okay. It's nothing to do with type 2 diabetes and that sort of stuff. It's the fact that you are going to get, if you have a blood sugar dip, you're going to feel tired. You're going to crave food, and you're going to struggle with doing things that you want to do. So, yeah, I think in short, too long didn't read. Plan your training around your week. If you know you're going to be tired later on, front load your week with your training and then do a session at the weekend. Look at your meals. Are you having enough to eat earlier on in the day? So more calories, make sure it's balanced. Good protein, good carb, preferably slow release carbs. This is why things like overnight oats are great.
Yeah.
Make sure you're having enough for lunch so that you are getting around two-thirds of your calories in before you get to your evening meal. And then that should reduce any sort of urges to snack and things like that as well. I'm not saying that it will get rid of it, but it will reduce it. Yeah, and then just try that. So it comes back to everything we say about planning. Plan your week ahead.
Yeah.
Plan your food. Make sure your meals are substantial. And it's all the stuff that I'm doing right now in this kind of fat loss phase. So I'm front loading the week. I'm making sure I'm having sort of 40 odd grams of protein in the morning with a good amount of carbs. My lunches are 400 to 500 calories. I've got snacks as well throughout the day to keep the energy levels up. And then the evening meals tonight, I've just had a stir fry, plenty of veg, and we'll go, yeah, and that's kind of keeping my energy levels stable. But I am still tired. Being tired at the end of the day when you're getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, perfectly normal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's again comes down to like that routine as well.
Mm.
Because actually, like sometimes getting in, I know that I'm the worst for it. If I've had a long day and I get in and I sit down, I'm not moving again.
No.
So I like tonight, I purposely made sure that I got in, got straight into my gym stuff and went out because I was like, if I sit down, that's it. I'll just start doom scrolling. I won't move.
Yeah.
Like I need to move. So it was like straight in, get changed, straight back out the door.
Yeah.
Which again is really hard when you're tired, but actually sometimes doing a workout, even if it's a short one, like you say, like 20 minutes, it can just give you that little energy boost as well.
Yeah.
And you'll feel better for it because you've not got that guilt in the back of your head, like, I'm really tired, I should be relaxing. Like I want to relax, but I know I should be training, or
Yeah.
Sometimes just get rid of that. So sometimes, like you say, just doing something is better than nothing, and you can feel a little bit better for it as well. But if you are absolutely shattered, don't force
Yeah,
yourself.
and I think the other thing as well is we all have this fear of missing out and stuff. We need to learn to, and I'm guilty of this at times as well. We need to learn to switch stuff off. Like
Yeah.
one of the things that we do now is that if we're watching telly, rather than saying, "Oh, shall we watch another episode?" I'll look at the watch and go, "No, that's gonna finish too late.
Yeah, we do that.
Stop, turn the telly off."
Yeah.
And we might still be on our phones, but I'm not doom scrolling. I might play a bit of Sudoku or something, and yeah, go to bed earlier. All right. So two things I wanted. To talk about. First one was it's kind of ties in with what we've just talked about: hunger, fatigue, food choice, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it ties in with what I'm doing. I want to talk about it because of the fat loss phase that I'm going through. And then the other thing is plateaus and impatience. And this comes from a bit of feedback from the sheets, but also from just conversations I've had in the gym as well with people sort of hitting plateaus and things. And I want to talk about what a plateau is, what causes them, and some of the strategies to kind of go around them, because I think that's when people see results stall, they kind of hit the panic button. We want to stop that. So yeah, we'll talk about that. So first though, hunger, fatigue, and food choice, volume versus energy. So I'm low calorie at the moment. I say low calorie, 1800, which for a lot of people go, that's loads. But when you're
You.
yeah, when your maintenance is normally 3,000 to 3,500 calories, it's not very much.
Yeah.
So um I've got to make sure that I do all the stuff that we've just mentioned. You know, um, got to make sure that the calories are spread out. I've also got to look at the volume of food that I'm eating. So if I talk through a typical day's eating, I have 250 grams of yogurt with a scoop of whey protein, 100 grams of frozen fruit in there, and I top it with nuts and seeds. It's about 400 calories, 45 grams of protein, but it's filling. I've got a clear whey protein shake that I have mid morning just to top up protein because I'm aiming for like 200 grams at the moment. But also that kind of just gives me that little bit, and I'll also have a bit of carbs depending on where. So if I've trained, I'll have some carbs with that protein as well. Lunch at the moment, dead simple. It's just a whole carton of soup, vegetable base for the fiber, and then about 200 grams of cooked chicken just chucked in. So got carbs, fiber, and then I follow that with a sometimes a chocolate bar, but a small one again, just to get the simple carbs in. Sometimes a protein yogurt, and then an evening meal like I've had tonight. Just a big stir fry, loads of veg. All of those foods are it's lots of veg. I mean, the soup is probably processed. I wouldn't necessarily call it ultra processed, but it's processed food. But it's the thing I'm trying to avoid is lots of ultra processed foods because they're low volume generally, loads of calories in them. Um, they don't really satisfy you because they're processed. A lot of the breaking down of the food has already been done. And one of the things that helps keep you fuller for longer is the fact that your body has to work to digest the food. So I think trying to eat mostly whole foods or minimally processed foods is is really important when you are certainly in a fat loss phase. But I think to kind of keep that hunger going. But then it's also getting the right balance. So I'm tracking I'm tracking down to the gram of my carbs and my fats because I want to make sure that my energy's up there. So I'm kind of tracking where are they at? Okay, carbs are a bit low yesterday, so today I've upped them. I've added a few more carbohydrates in there just to try and bump them up a little bit, and then switched it out for other things. So yeah, when you are eating at low calorie, you've got to look at the foods you eat. So high protein in the morning, exactly as we said before, it's going to stabilize your blood sugars, pair it with carbs, it's going to give you some energy. Um, High volume, so loads of fiber and protein from a lunch. Um, Again, with some carbohydrates in there. And then evening meal, loads of veg, loads of protein, and moderate carbs. But it's all freshly cooked. Yeah. And people are like, oh, I haven't got time for that. I made a stir fry on Monday and I finished it tonight.
Yeah, I've got leftovers tonight, my 3 days worth of chicken and vegetable curry. Like it's just so easy. If you bulk cook, like you just batch cook everything, like you can just have it over the next few days. So again, if you're working late, you are tired, you've got it there ready to go. You don't need to think. Like
Yeah.
I've not had my dinner yet, but I'll literally go downstairs as soon as we're finished here, put it in the microwave, done. Like I haven't got to think.
And it's really simple stuff like not last night, night before, I did a salmon tray bake, just a load of veg.
Yeah.
Um, it takes 5 minutes to cut the broccoli up into florets, slice of pepper on a tray in the oven, 20 minutes, put the salmon on, a little bit of a honey mustard dressing on the top, 30 minutes cooked. It takes 40 minutes, and that I put it in the oven, leave it. You can go and do other things,
Yeah.
come back to it, set the timer when the buzzer goes off, come back to it. So it is working smart. And you know, the recipe for that salmon thing I've put up as well. So if you're not sure, you've got the recipe hub that you can have a look at and try. And the other thing I would say as well is don't try, and food is not necessarily there to entertain you all the time.
Yeah.
I've had the same breakfast every day this week, and I will do a different breakfast next week, but it'll be the same breakfast every day a week. Um, I've had the same lunch. All I've done is I've bought different flavors of soup, but I've stuck chicken in it. Um, you know, it's so much easier to maintain your goals when you've got that consistency and routine. And there are a few things you can do, like the chicken. I did it in the air fryer, but I seasoned it. I'll do the same thing next week, and I'll probably change the seasonings. I'll do a slightly different one. Um, but yeah, it's that consistency, and I like changes in food. I like lots of different flavors. I'm not somebody who will. I can't necessarily eat the same thing on repeat forever.
Yeah.
I will get bored of it. But I do know that in the week, you know, especially when you're busy and you get down to it, it's like, do you know what? I'm hungry. I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
So try and keep things similar breakfast. Have them on rotation. You know, I've got overnight oats, yogurt and fruit, those breakfast muffin things that I do, and I just kind of go through and rotate them, so I'm not having the same thing week after week after week.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep it similar. Loads of veg in there for the high volume, loads of protein for satiety, moderate carbs for your stable energy levels, and yeah, just keep it simple, because if you get your food regular, those energy levels will be sorted as well, or certainly helped as well. So yeah. Last one, plateaus and impatience.
I think
Oh
everyone
god.
can be guilty of this, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think you probably the same, especially with your training. You know, you don't see progress sometimes. You get frustrated.
I get so cross with myself all the time. And I think what you've got to remember is the more you're pushing for, especially like your training, like even if, whether you're looking at your fat loss plateaus, whether you're looking at terms like lifting heavier in the gym, like you will early on be able to lose a lot of body fat quickly, or you will be able to lift heavier really quickly.
Yeah.
And you are going to reach a point where that will slow down. Like that's very normal.
Yeah.
But I think all of us always just want more all the time. And we're so guilty for constantly wanting more and not giving ourselves credit for like how far we've come.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's a really good point. I think the first thing is when you get frustrated with a lack of progress, look back. And I know she
100%.
did that this week. You know, she was looking back at. I think she mentioned that she looked back at a photo from this time last year, and the difference. She says I can really notice the difference. I think that's a really good one.
Yeah.
There's a trend on I've seen on Instagram on the stories where you post pictures of yourself 10 years ago.
Yeah. I don't think I want to look back 10 years ago.
No, I don't either. It would probably do me good, to be fair, because that was when I was bigger. But yeah, it's absolutely look back. I think that's a good thing, because it helps you to see the progress that you've made. And don't just look back on how big or small you were, but look back at what you did in terms of like your lifestyle and your habit and things like
Yeah.
that. You know, if I look back 10 years ago, this glass of wine would be alcoholic and I would have finished the bottle by now. Um, Whereas now I've got a non-alcoholic glass, and I'm drinking lots of water,
Yeah.
which has helped get my steps up because I'm going to the loo all the time.
10 years ago, I don't even think I knew what training was.
No,
I didn't like moving. I
no,
was never someone that was into sports at school ever. If like me from 10 years ago would look at me now and be like, what do you mean you've just been for a run in the rain? Are you okay? She'd be she'd be disgusted.
yeah, looking at you like you're an alien. Um, but yeah, so look at your progress now. Plateaus are normal, as Alice said. They are normal in that you cannot expect to progress at the same rate all the
Yeah.
time. I mean,
Newbie gains are a thing.
yeah, and if you could progress at your strength at the same rate all the time, we'd be surrounded by He-Man.
Superhumans.
There'd be loads of people like that. Yeah, superhumans. Um, so it is going to plateau and level off, and that's normal and that's fine. But it's the same with fat loss. If fat loss continued at that initial rate, you'd disappear.
Yeah.
You would literally disappear. So it is going to slow down. Um, at this time of year, they're really normal as well because people go in hard, heavy and hard. And I think we talked about this last week, but
Yeah.
they go in heavy and hard in January. This Monday coming is, I think Ree mentioned it in the questions last week. This Monday coming is the Monday where people tend to give up on their um, New Year's resolutions because they're going hard. But they're going hard and they give up because the plateau starts occurring now
Yeah.
because they sort of starve themselves on 1,200 calories. Thing is, when you try and stick to 1,200 calories, it doesn't happen. You end up snacking and consuming more. Um, a prime example, I had a client that I trained today who, frustratingly, for the last week and a half before this week, the first week and a half of January, they were kind of trying to stick to like 1,600 calories. Male
Wow.
male client who I had told to eat somewhere between 2,200 and 2,400 calories. 1,600 calories. He says, my Christmas weight's not coming off. Right. So I said, try and eat to 2,200 calories. Just try and eat to that.
Just give it a go.
Give it a go because you know your ways at working. So let's try what I say. So sure enough, from the weekend through to today, Thursday, he's eaten 2,200 calories. What do you know? The weight starts coming down. Now it's not magic. I've not suddenly boosted his metabolism or anything like that. If you eat to a slightly higher calorie range, and this is why we don't set 1,200 calories, but if you eat to a slightly higher calorie range, you are going to probably be more accurate within your tracking, more
Yeah.
honest. When people try and restrict them too low, they snack because the body is going to drive your hunger up and you're going to want to snack and things. So you'll pick at stuff and you won't log it. So that 1,200 calories is probably more likely to be 16, 1,700 calories. If you eat to 16, 1,700 calories, you'll have less inclination to snack and you're going to track all your food more accurately.
Yeah.
So you are more likely to stick to that and therefore the weight is coming down. Now, this guy, when we did a deep dive and talked about what he was eating an entire bag of nuts.
Which is, yeah, really high calorie
Well, it's like a
and
thousand
fats.
calories.
And yeah.
Yeah. So he thinks he's eating 16, 1,700 calories. In reality, is eating 26, 2,700 calories at least.
Yeah.
So I've said, right, eat 2,200 calories. So all of a sudden, the nuts don't. He said, I've not snacked on nuts this week.
There you
Uh,
go. Yeah. Because you've not felt hungry. You've, yeah, been able to regulate your meal times more. And actually, like all of that does help.
yeah. So the first thing when it comes to a plateau is just double check that you're eating the right amount of calories. You're eating enough. Um, Double check your tracking. Track everything because it's normal for tracking to slip. You know, when we're into it and everything's dead accurate, it's great. But after a while, and I always say this, tracking's a chore. It is a chore.
Yeah.
After a while, you stop tracking the food, and especially if you're having different meals across the day and every day. This is why I say have the same food each day because it's so easy to track.
Yeah.
And I know then that I'm eating the calories. So check your tracking, check your steps. Because if you've been in a deficit for a prolonged period of time, your body down regulates your activity. It makes you less inclined to want to move. So it reduces that drive to move. Now, you might say, oh, you know, I'm still getting up and walking. We'll check to see how many steps you're doing. But all the other activity is going to drop as well. So you'll fidget less, you'll move around less. And this is why we say try and keep your steps up because it counteracts some of that. So make sure you're doing enough steps and your movement. And then also make sure that you're working hard enough in the gym because, again, your energy levels are going to down regulate. So you're going to be less inclined to push yourself in the gym. So have a look at your lifting. Now, if your energy levels are low, if your movement's low, and you're weaker in the gym, that's probably a good time to say, actually, might need to eat at maintenance for a week or two,
Yeah.
just to bring those energy levels up to kind of reset everything, and then you can go into a deficit again. Okay, but that's not a true plateau. These are what we call false plateaus because it's not the fact that your body fat stalled. There's a lot of other things that your body fat loss has stalled. There's just a lot of other things that have got in the way. So we need to double check. So double check your tracking, double check your movement, check your energy levels, and if they're out, then you need to do something about it. If you are in a true plateau because you've kind of lost enough body fat that you're now, and enough body weight that you're now, what you thought was a deficit is now your maintenance, then yeah, we need to do things about it. We can lower your calories slightly. We can look at upping your, hopefully if you've lost body weight, you're going to have more energy, so you can do a few more steps. So we can play around with things like that. But it's, rather than panicking, quite often the best thing for your plateaus, like I say, check your tracking, make sure you're consistent with everything, check your movement, you drink enough water, is your sleep all right, all of those basics, is your protein right. If that's right, we might need to kind of just up your calories for a week or so to maintenance so that you get more fuel in, body gets a chance to recover, and then we can push again. But yeah, just be patient. Don't hit the panic button. Don't give up.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing you can do, because if you give up, you just end up going back to where you were in the first place, and you'll feel even worse. But yeah, just double check those things. The worst thing that will probably happen is that you need to come up to maintenance for a week or two, and then we can go again. But yeah, cool. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
That's
I
about
think it is
it.
this week.
Yeah. So it's just, I think, just really to wrap things up. Evening fatigue at the end of the week is normal. Don't feel bad about it. Plan your week around it. Front load your week in terms of your workouts. Maybe do one at the weekend. Double check that if you are feeling tired in the evening, make sure you're eating enough earlier on in the day. That's a big mistake that people make. So that food earlier on is going to support your energy levels later on. Protein. Make sure you are getting your protein. This is the big one I've had this week with people. I basically told somebody off because they were literally eating a piece of toast and a cup of tea for breakfast, and I just went no. So
Get some protein in.
Yeah, get your protein in. Make sure you've got something decent at lunch, and then yeah, with your plateaus and things like that, double check those things. Check that you're tracking, check your steps, look at your sleep and your water and your protein. If your energy levels are dropping because you notice your strength's going down in the gym, then absolutely it's maybe time to just try a little bit of maintenance to bring things back up, and then we can go again. Well, right, that's the last week of this block. No call next week.
Yeah.
Excuse me, no call next week. I will be chatting to everybody hopefully and catching up, and then setting the workouts for the next block, which starts a week on Monday, which is I can't remember. What date are we on now?
26th.
26th. Can't remember. Yes, so 26th. Fab.
There we go.
That is it from us, and we will catch you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.